Jessica Sanchez, once the voice that could move millions, is facing a devastating diagnosis. And her husband, Ricky, is preparing for a goodbye no one ever imagined. What happened to the couple who once had it all? The truth behind her condition will leave you speechless. How Jessica and Ricky met and got married. It all began in 2017, when music and fate quietly crossed paths. Jessica Sanchez, already known for her incredible voice that once stunned American Idol audiences, was performing at a church venue for a small concert. The crowd was moved by her voice, but one person among them would remember that night for more than just the performance. Ricky Gallardo was working as a lighting technician at the same venue. He wasn't supposed to stay for long, but a friend nudged him and said, "You gotta come back, this girl can sing." That simple sentence changed everything. Ricky returned to watch Jessica perform again. From his place behind the lights, he watched her command the stage with pure emotion. Something about her voice, her grace, and her presence caught his attention completely. After the show, he couldn't get her out of his mind. Days later, he found her Instagram account and sent a short video clip he had taken from that night. It showed Jessica singing under the lights, unaware that he was watching. Along with the video, he wrote a bold message. "I'm gonna marry you one day." Jessica, used to receiving hundreds of random messages, would normally ignore something like that. But this one felt different. It wasn't flattery, it was genuine. She laughed at first but couldn't shake off the warmth behind his words. Out of curiosity, she replied. That single moment opened the door to a connection neither of them had expected. Soon, they began talking regularly. Their conversations were easy, filled with humor, and grounded in faith. Within weeks, they were spending every day together, exploring music, food, and life itself. Friends noticed how naturally they fit together. Ricky's calm, humble personality balanced Jessica's driven, artistic energy. Their relationship blossomed quickly, but it didn't feel rushed. It felt right. By the time they officially began dating, their bond had deepened into something strong and steady. Jessica once said in an interview that Ricky's quiet support became her anchor. While fame could be loud and unpredictable, Ricky offered peace and understanding. He wasn't part of the entertainment world's chaos. He was her safe space within it. In 2021, after 4 years together, Jessica and Ricky decided to get married. There was no grand announcement or glittering celebrity event. They chose to have a private ceremony attended by only a few close friends and family members. Their pastor was available on short notice, and they didn't want to wait any longer. Jessica later shared that the simplicity of the day made it even more beautiful. There were no photographers, no headlines, just two people promising forever in a moment that truly belonged to them. That day marked the beginning of a new chapter for both of them. They had found not just love but partnership, one rooted in faith, respect, and shared dreams. Little did they know, their union would soon be tested by more than fame or distance. Life would bring challenges that neither the spotlight nor applause could soften. But first, let's take you through their journey to fame. From spotlight to stage. Jessica Sanchez's story began long before she became a household name. Her love for music was evident from the moment she could speak, and her powerful voice quickly became her defining gift. At just 10 years old, she appeared on the very first season of America's Got Talent. Though she didn't win, that early experience gave her a glimpse of what her future could hold. It was her first taste of the stage lights, the applause, and the promise of something greater. A few years later, Jessica's life changed forever when she auditioned for American Idol Season 11 in 2012. Her performances stunned both the judges and audiences around the world. Week after week, her soulful renditions proved she was no ordinary teenager. She eventually finished as runner-up, but by then, she had already made her mark. Her voice, often compared to legends like Whitney Houston, had placed her among the most memorable contestants in the show's history. Fame found her quickly, but as Jessica would later admit, it was both a blessing and a test. After a few years in the music industry, Jessica decided to take a step back. The spotlight was bright, but it also demanded constant attention and perfection. She wanted time to rediscover herself and her purpose beyond the expectations of fame. In interviews, she spoke about needing to reconnect with her roots, her faith, and her love for music in its purest form. That period of reflection became essential for her growth as both an artist and a person. Her return to the stage was nothing short of inspiring. Jessica began releasing new songs and performing live again, gradually finding her rhythm. In 2025, she made a powerful comeback by joining America's Got Talent Season 20, 19 years after her first appearance as a child. It was a full-circle moment that showed not only her resilience, but also her enduring passion for performing. Throughout her journey, Ricky Gallardo stood firmly by her side. While Jessica commanded the stage, Ricky preferred to work quietly behind the scenes as a lighting technician. He had no interest in fame or recognition. His focus was always on Jessica's well-being. She often referred to him as her biggest rock, someone who provided emotional, spiritual, and practical support when she needed it most. Whether it was managing travel, helping her prepare for performances, or simply offering words of comfort, Ricky became an inseparable part of her success story. But a career on this scale never comes without cost, and even the strongest partnerships can be tested by the weight of fame. Let's tell you what challenges and controversies would soon threaten to shake the very foundation of their love, both in public and behind closed doors. Challenges in life and controversies. Life in the spotlight is rarely as bright as it seems. For Jessica Sanchez, fame came early, and with it came expectations that no child should have to carry. Growing up in the public meant that every step she took was seen, discussed, and sometimes judged. When she first entered the music world, the applause was loud, but so were the voices telling her what she should be. In interviews, Jessica has openly admitted that fame at a young age made her question who she really was. She once said that parts of her identity began to feel tied to what other people want me to be. It took years for her to separate her true self from the image that the world expected. As her career grew, so did the pressure. Jessica had to learn how to balance her professional life with her personal one, a task that even seasoned artists find difficult. The demands of performing, traveling, and constantly being in the public eye left little room for rest. Behind the confident smiles and breathtaking performances, Jessica was also fighting internal battles. She had to navigate a world that often tried to define her by numbers, views, and appearances. The struggle was not just professional, it was deeply personal. She spent time reflecting on what kind of artist she wanted to be and what kind of person she was becoming. Stepping back from fame for a while allowed her to reconnect with her values, faith, and purpose. She wanted her work to be honest and meaningful, even if that meant moving at her own pace. Through all of it, Ricky remained a steady presence by her side. He encouraged her to rest when she needed to and reminded her that her worth was not measured by fame. Together, they faced both applause and criticism, holding on to each other through it all. But is the strain taking a deeper toll than anyone can see? As Jessica continues to perform, what truth lies hidden behind the bright lights and unshakable smiles? What is really happening behind the scenes as she carries not just songs, but a life? A new song growing within. When Jessica Sanchez found out she was pregnant, her world shifted in the most beautiful yet uncertain way. It happened not long after she decided to audition for America's Got Talent Season 20. At first, she chose to keep the news private, sharing it only with close family and her husband, Ricky Gallardo. She wanted time to understand what this new chapter meant for her life and career before telling the world. Months later, when she finally revealed her pregnancy publicly through social media and her emotional return to AGT, the reaction was filled with love, admiration, and surprise. Fans celebrated her strength, calling her comeback a story of courage and grace. Performing while pregnant is not an easy task, and Jessica soon realized just how demanding it would be. As her pregnancy progressed, so did her time on the show. She auditioned, competed, and continued performing even as she entered her 9th month. Viewers could see her growing belly on stage, but what stood out more was her unwavering spirit. She admitted in interviews that pregnancy had affected her performances. Her breathing felt different, her energy was lower, and her voice sometimes sounded heavier than before. Yet each time she sang, she poured all her emotions into the music, transforming her challenges into pure art. Her journey became not just about talent, but about perseverance and love. Through her songs, she expressed gratitude for life and for the child she was about to welcome. Jessica's social media posts during this period were full of warmth, hope, and appreciation. She often thanked her fans for supporting her and spoke about how incredible it felt to carry new life while doing what she loved most. But behind the joy were also moments of quiet vulnerability. There were nights when exhaustion took over, when fear whispered about the unknown, and when balancing motherhood with public competition felt overwhelming. She never hid the fact that it was hard, admitting that she sometimes doubted whether she could handle it all. Ricky Gallardo, her husband, was her constant source of strength. While she stood under the bright lights, he remained just behind them, cheering her on. On social media, he often wrote heartfelt messages for her, calling her the strongest woman I've ever known. In one post, he shared, "Watching you carry our child while chasing your dream left me in awe." To Jessica, those words meant more than any applause. Ricky's calm presence reminded her that she was never alone, no matter how demanding the journey became. Then came the moment that would mark this chapter forever. During one of her live performances, Judge Sofia Vergara pressed the golden buzzer. Gold confetti fell as the audience erupted in cheers. It was not only a triumph of talent but of endurance, faith, and love. Jessica stood on stage, tears in her eyes, holding her belly and smiling. She had proven that motherhood and ambition could coexist beautifully. But where there is joy, there can also be fear. Rumors often begin when someone is at their most vulnerable. Let's find out the truth. Jessica Sanchez's health condition. As Jessica's pregnancy reached its final weeks, whispers began to spread across social media. Some fans noticed that she seemed more tired during her America's Got Talent performances. Others pointed out small signs of discomfort or changes in her voice. A few began to speculate whether she was facing health complications or if something was wrong behind the scenes. These observations grew quickly into rumors, with some online users suggesting that Ricky Gallardo, her husband, might have hinted at saying goodbye. Yet, most of what was circulating had no solid foundation. What many people were witnessing were simply the natural effects of late pregnancy, the exhaustion, the weight, and the emotional intensity of preparing to become a mother. Despite the growing speculation, no trusted news outlet reported anything alarming. There were no official statements about hospitalization, no confirmed medical emergencies, and no mention of life-threatening complications. Jessica herself had not shared any details suggesting danger, and those close to her remained quiet, focusing instead on the upcoming birth. Still, the online world can often twist silence into mystery. Every pause, every emotional post, and every tender moment between Jessica and Ricky became fuel for speculation. The media's fascination with pregnant performers has always been complicated. Whenever a high-profile artist continues to perform while expecting, questions begin to arise. Will the stress trigger early labor? Is the physical demand too high? Can fame coexist with such a delicate phase of life? Jessica's decision to perform into her 9th month naturally drew that kind of attention. It became easy for entertainment blogs to exaggerate minor details into worrying headlines. Some even questioned whether she should have stopped performing earlier, ignoring the fact that Jessica herself had assured fans she was being closely monitored and felt healthy enough to continue. What remains clear is that Jessica was indeed competing in her 9th month, a remarkable and inspiring act of dedication. What remains uncertain, however, are the meanings behind some of the emotional words that Ricky shared online. A few of his posts about being ready for change and holding on to faith through hard times were interpreted by followers as signs of trouble. Others saw them as expressions of love and nervous anticipation before the baby's arrival. Without any confirmed statement from either of them, the truth behind these interpretations remains unknown. Whether Ricky's goodbye is a metaphor for closing one chapter and opening another, or something more serious, is purely speculative at this point. The weight of these rumors has its consequences. For Jessica and Ricky, facing this storm while preparing for parenthood must be emotionally draining. Constant speculation can add unnecessary stress to an already fragile time. For fans, the line between genuine concern and invasive curiosity becomes blurred. And for Jessica herself, the challenge lies in balancing honesty with privacy, sharing enough to stay connected to her audience, yet keeping what truly matters protected from the noise. As Jessica and Ricky stand on the edge of a new beginning, what are their deepest hopes and fears for what comes next? Life ambitions and future goals. Jessica and Ricky are now preparing to welcome their first child, a baby girl named Eliana, expected to arrive in mid-October 2025. The name, which means, "God has answered," reflects the faith and gratitude that both of them have carried through their journey. After months of anticipation and emotional highs, they are now looking ahead to a new life that will include lullabies, sleepless nights, and the beautiful chaos of parenthood. For Jessica, motherhood represents more than just a new role, it is a dream coming to life. Both she and Ricky have spoken about wanting their daughter to grow up surrounded by love, faith, and music. Jessica hopes that little Eliana will one day hear her songs and understand not only the melody but the strength behind them. The couple has expressed their wish to create a home filled with joy, calm, and stability, a contrast to the noise and unpredictability of fame. For Ricky, who has always preferred staying away from the spotlight, becoming a father seems like the role he was made for. Friends close to them have described him as patient, thoughtful, and deeply protective, the kind of partner who helps love flourish even when life feels uncertain. Professionally, Jessica's ambitions remain strong, but they now come with more clarity and self-awareness. After years of performing under the constant gaze of critics and fans, she is now more confident about who she wants to be as an artist. She has often said that her goal is to make music that connects with hearts, not just charts. Her return to America's Got Talent was not about reclaiming fame, it was about rediscovering purpose. She wants to write, perform, and collaborate on projects that reflect her experiences, her growth, and her beliefs. Each song she creates now carries traces of her personal evolution, her faith, and her journey toward motherhood. Jessica also understands the weight of her platform. Competing on AGT while heavily pregnant made her a symbol of courage and determination to many. Winning or losing may no longer be her focus. Instead, she wants to inspire others, to show that women can be strong, creative, and nurturing all at once. She wants her story to be a message of resilience and hope, especially for artists struggling to find balance between passion and personal life. Of course, the road ahead will not be without its challenges. Parenthood brings sleepless nights, constant adjustments, and new responsibilities. Jessica will need to recover physically after childbirth and protect her voice, which has always been her most precious gift. Balancing a demanding career while caring for a newborn will test both her endurance and discipline. Privacy will also be hard to maintain, especially in a world that watches every move she makes. They have come so far, from meeting by chance, to building dreams together, to stepping into parenthood with hearts full of hope. Yet every new beginning comes with sacrifices. As love, ambition, and perhaps even loss shape their next act together, one question remains: how will their story continue to unfold beyond the spotlight? Share your thoughts in the comments section and click on the cards on screen for interesting stories.